Nobody at the Golden Globes expected the night to turn into a live, unscripted spectacle. But the moment whispers started spreading across the velvet-lined tables, the air changed. Cameras kept rolling. Champagne glasses froze mid-sip. And every eye drifted toward one woman, Teyana Taylor. Just hours earlier, the internet had been buzzing with rumors that Pierre had suddenly walked away from her life. No dramatic press statement. No polished explanation, just silence. That felt louder than thunder. Fans noticed clues. Missing photos, cryptic captions, and a chilling sense that something had shattered behind the scenes. But nobody, absolutely nobody, was prepared for what unfolded once the world's brightest stars gathered under those blinding lights. At first it looked like any other glamorous awards night. Flashbulbs exploded. Designers' names echoed across the carpet. Smiles looked polished enough to fool the world. Yet beneath that sparkle, tension pulsed like a hidden storm waiting to break. People at nearby tables whispered that Teyana wasn't just upset, she looked determined, focused, almost electric with emotion. Then came the moment that would ignite timelines across the globe. A single glance, a pause that lasted just a fraction too long. And suddenly, what should have been a celebration transformed into a night fans would later call unforgettable, and some would even call unimaginable. Because once heartbreak meets a global stage, the fallout doesn't stay. Private IT becomes history. And what happened next turned whispers into wildfire. The tension didn't explode all at once. It simmered, slow and dangerous, like heat beneath polished marble floors. From across the ballroom, several celebrities later claimed they noticed something off about Teyana the second she stepped inside. She didn't glide like usual. She didn't pause for playful selfies or linger with the laughter that once defined her presence. Instead, she moved with purpose. Eyes locked forward as if she had rehearsed every step leading to that exact spot. Rumors about Aaron had already spiraled hours earlier. Social media detectives were posting side-by-side timelines, pointing out how his sudden absence from recent public moments felt more than coincidence. Fans flooded comment sections, speculating about emotional distance, sudden changes in body language, and cryptic lines from songs that suddenly sounded like coded messages. None of it was confirmed, but the noise was impossible to ignore. Inside the ballroom, whispers multiplied. A few attendees leaned closer to one another, murmuring about how Aaron's name had surfaced repeatedly throughout the day, trending across platforms at lightning speed. Clips from older interviews resurfaced, dissected frame by frame. Every smile was analyzed, every pause replayed like evidence in a trial no one officially started. And then, right when the music swelled and applause echoed across the hall, Teyana made her presence impossible to overlook. Witnesses later described the shift as electric. The lights reflected off her gown like sparks against glass. But it wasn't fashion that held attention, it was her expression. Calm on the surface, turbulent underneath. The kind of calm that only appears when someone has already made a decision they can't undo. Across social media, viewers watching from home noticed something strange as well. A camera angle lingered just long enough to capture her reaction to a passing joke, one that mentioned love, loyalty, and second chances. The audience laughed, but Teyana didn't. She stared forward, lips pressed tight, eyes reflecting something heavier than humor. Within seconds, that clip was replayed thousands of times. Online chatter turned into chaos. Posts flooded timelines with captions like, "She knows something and this night is about to blow up." Screenshots spread faster than official broadcasts could keep up. Even people who weren't watching suddenly tuned in, sensing drama brewing beneath the glamorous surface. Back inside the ballroom, several insiders later claimed the energy shifted once a familiar name was mentioned. During a brief conversation near the stage, no microphone caught it clearly. No official recording confirmed every word, but multiple guests insisted the mention of his name caused a visible reaction, shoulders tightening, posture straightening, a breath drawn deeper than necessary. The reaction lasted only seconds, yet it was enough to send speculation into overdrive. The next moment became the turning point everyone would later debate. During a transition between awards, Teyana stood unexpectedly, deliberately. Some thought she was stepping out for air. Others assumed she was heading toward a scheduled appearance. But the way conversations hushed as she moved suggested something else entirely. Anticipation mixed with fear. Phones appeared beneath tables. Not openly, subtly, discreetly but enough to capture fragments of movement. Clips began appearing online within minutes. Blurry angles, shaky zooms. But one thing was clear. She wasn't retreating. She was advancing. Audience members later described the atmosphere as suffocating. Even the orchestra seemed quieter, as if sound itself hesitated to interrupt what was about to unfold. Nearby celebrities exchanged nervous glances, unsure whether to watch or pretend nothing unusual was happening. And just when everyone assumed the moment might pass without incident, Teyana paused near the edge of the stage. That pause lasted barely 2 seconds, but it felt eternal. Her hand hovered near the microphone stand. Cameras swung in her direction. Producers whispered urgently into headsets. Viewers at home leaned closer to their screens, sensing that whatever came next wouldn't be scripted, rehearsed, or easily erased, because heartbreak doesn't politely wait for the perfect cue. It erupts when emotion reaches a breaking point, and in that exact second, standing under lights that revealed every flicker of expression, Teyana looked out across the audience with an intensity that made even seasoned celebrities shift uncomfortably in their seats. The orchestra fell silent. The crowd froze and the world held its breath. Just before she reached for the microphone in a move that promised to change the night forever, the moment her fingers brushed the microphone, the tension snapped like a wire pulled too tight. Conversations stopped mid. Even distant tables leaned forward, as if gravity itself shifted toward the stage. Producers scrambled backstage, unsure whether to cut the feed or let the moment unfold. Teyana didn't speak immediately. That silence, thick, deliberate, almost defiant, became the loudest sound in the room. Camera zoomed in, capturing the flicker of emotion across her face, hurt layered with determination. Vulnerability shadowed by something sharper. Then she finally inhaled. What followed wasn't a polished acceptance speech or rehearsed announcement. It felt raw and filtered emotion spilling into a room built for celebration, not confrontation. She spoke carefully, choosing words that danced along the edge of revelation without crossing into specifics. She didn't name names at first, but the meaning hovered unmistakably in the air. Audience members later described the energy as surreal. Some nodded sympathetically. Others exchanged wide-eyed glances, stunned by the vulnerability unfolding on such a public stage. Meanwhile, online reactions exploded at record speed. Clips of her expression, eyes glistening under the lights, flooded platforms faster than official coverage could keep up. Fans began debating every syllable, interpreting hidden meanings behind phrases about trust, change, and emotional strength. Then came the moment that ignited the loudest reaction of the night. She paused again, long enough to let suspense build like pressure behind glass. Her gaze swept across the room, landing on familiar faces, then drifting toward the audience beyond the cameras. That was when she finally referenced the heartbreak everyone had been whispering about, not with direct accusations, but with a confession of feeling blindsided, of learning painful truths in silence, of realizing that sometimes walking away leaves echoes louder than words. Gasps rippled across nearby tables. Several celebrities lowered their heads, unsure whether to clap, comfort, or simply observe. And outside the ballroom, the digital world spiraled into frenzy. Fans dissected every line, creating viral threads titled "The Speech Heard Around the World." Memes appeared within minutes. Reaction videos multiplied like wildfire. Even celebrities watching from home began posting cryptic messages, short phrases about loyalty, resilience, and self-worth that fans interpreted as subtle support. Back inside, the atmosphere teetered between empathy and shock. Teyana's voice grew steadier as she continued, her tone shifting from heartbreak to resolve. She spoke about transformation, about refusing to let disappointment define her future, about reclaiming strength in the face of public scrutiny. Each sentence felt heavier than the last, echoing through a ballroom designed for applause. Not emotional confession yet, just when the room seemed ready to exhale, when people thought the moment had reached its peak. Another twist sent shockwaves through the audience. She stepped away from the microphone. For a split second, it looked like the moment was over. People began to relax, some clapping cautiously, others exchanging relieved smiles. But before applause could fully rise, she turned back one final motion that reignited the tension like a spark dropped into gasoline. Her final words weren't loud. They weren't shouted. They were delivered with calm intensity that made them land harder than any scream. Words about moving forward, about rewriting narratives, about proving that silence can transform into power when the world least expects it. The room erupted into mixed reaction. Stunned silence, whispers layered over applause. And as cameras faded to the next segment, producers struggled to regain control of the broadcast, while backstage chatter erupted into chaotic speculation about what the moment truly meant. Within minutes, headlines began forming across entertainment sites. Some called it courageous. Others called it shocking. A few labeled it the most unforgettable live moment in recent awards history. But the biggest mystery lingered unanswered. What exactly happened between Aaron and Teyana behind closed doors that pushed her to transform heartbreak into a moment broadcast to millions? Because while the speech ended, the questions didn't. And somewhere beyond the flashing lights and viral clips, the story behind the silence remained unfinished, waiting to erupt again when the next revelation finally surfaces. If you thought tonight's drama stopped when the cameras cut away, think again, because moments like this don't fade quietly. They echo, they evolve, and they spark new revelations when nobody expects them. Every pause, every glance, every word delivered under those lights has already set the internet on fire. And the fallout is only beginning to unfold. What do you think really happened behind the scenes before that unforgettable night? Was this a moment of pure heartbreak turned into strength? Or the first signal that an even bigger story is still waiting to surface? The truth is, stories like this don't end with one speech. They grow louder as fans dig deeper, share theories, and uncover details hidden in plain sight. That's why you cannot afford to miss what comes next. If you've been watching this unfold, now is the time to speak up. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Every theory, every reaction, every opinion fuels the conversation that keeps moments like this alive. And if you want to stay ahead of the chaos before the next twist hits, timelines and turns whispers into headlines, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications right now. Because when the next chapter breaks, you won't just hear about it later. You'll be among the first to witness it as it explodes across the world.